The game on the line, you can't fold and you can't bend. Y'all be playing it safe and I be going for the win. Remember back when they was doubting on the kid. Now they tuned in cause my game too legit.
There's a lot of you don't know about the fantasy headlines. Nation. Headline Nation. Fantasy headlines for the nation. I'm a headliner. I'm a headliner.
Yo. Analytics off the chain, all the channels not the same. Jake and Kyle, you know the name. Headliner Nation, we running the game. Y'all stuck on third down. Your content's plain Jane. Headliners on top now. We gonna move and change. Podcast off the rip. Draft guide, so legit. Fantasy world, our game tight. You know we about that chub life. Stuck in a rut and you need some motivation. Head to the channel for this Headliner Nation.
I'm a headliner.
What is up, nation? It's a beautiful Sunday morning, right? Beautiful Sunday morning. We've got football already on the TV. So you might be watching that. You might be watching me, whatever you're doing. Much appreciate all of you out there. Oh, man. Why is this doing this? Okay, we are getting ready to hop right into our Pick'ems live stream. And again, every Sunday morning, we are here live. Hold on. There we go. Every Sunday morning, we are here live to talk about Pick'ems. And we use our friends over at OddsJam. We're going to be using their fantasy optimizer, their sportsbook screen to try and figure out the best lines possible. And again, the way we do that is we take a look at a lot of people out there watching both love it. We take a look at all of the different lines that are out there, the discrepancies in the lines, where the math seems to add up and doesn't add up, and where can we find the best bets possible. And we're doing all of our pick'ems through Underdog. You can use code word headliners over there as well. But yeah, lots to go through this morning. Lots to go through. If you like what you see on this stream, make sure you check out OddsJam for yourself. Code word liners. You're going to get 30% off of your first month, and you're going to get essentially like 37 days for free to use it, because you also get a 7-day free trial, and then you get a 30-day money-back guarantee. Last week we went 13 of 17 on all of our picks. Probably would have been 14 of 17 if it had not been for the Daniel Jones injury. Unfortunately, that one kind of screwed us over there. But 13 to 17 last week. Back on the horse, over 60% again on the season for our picks. I think things are going really well. And one thing that I want to clarify too, because I had a couple of people make comments last week about how my picks were bad. One thing I want to comment about how I'm doing my picks and how you should do your picks differently. I am going through and I'm helping you find the best picks that I see. And when I do that, I'm just going in order and throwing them into tickets for myself, because I don't have time to sit here and waste your time by looking through everything that's going on. And saying, here's the best and here's the best. All right, I'm going to put these together. I don't have time to arrange tickets. I don't. If I did that, we wouldn't get through as many pick'ems as we do on this show. So for you all out there, you have to decide what pick'ems are the best to play. Because there were people that were like, oh, your pick'em sucked. I lost money this week. And I'm like, well, how did they suck if I went 13 of 17? And come to find out, people were playing 5-ticket pick'ems and were missing one and not insuring them, or doing 5-ticket pick'ems and missing 2 but getting 3 right. Every ticket I do on here, I do 3 picks, I do $10, and I insurance, because I'm trying to get through them. So if you hear me say that this is a pick'em that we're doing, but you think to yourself, I don't know if I like that one, my gut tells me no, don't play it. Or play together some pick'ems that you like and then maybe some you don't on some tickets to have some safe bets and maybe a high upside bet or something like that. So that's something to just keep in mind. All right. Everybody keep that in mind as we're going through this. Put together the tickets however you feel. I'm just giving you all of the pick'ems that I am finding that I'm like, I like this. I like it. Justin Rogers becoming a member for the 13th month. If your picks were bad, then why are you almost, I say almost because you just sometimes never know, are always helping people win at fantasy? That's a great point, Justin. That's a great point. Thank you for bringing that up this morning. Let's hop into it. Let's start finding some pick'ems. Let's do it. I do need to refresh the screen real quick though, because this has been up for the last hour or so. We're going to start off on the optimizer. First, and then we're going to kind of go from there. And then we'll see where the day takes us. There are a few props in the optimizer right now. Pick'ems in the optimizer that I'm taking a look at already that I see. First one up is Amon-Ra St. Brown over 6.5 receptions. Bet Online has him at 7.5 at plus 120. So we know those odds obviously are saying, well, the likelihood of him going over 7.5 is really not happening, right? But when we take a look at the over of 6.5 on all these other books, because remember, if you take a look at all of these books in the Fantasy Optimizer, if all of these books don't have numbers above the odds, it means it has the same line as Underdog. Bet Online doesn't. They're at 7.5, which means their line is a little bit higher. 6.5 receptions by Amon-Ra St. Brown. If we were to go over, the odds are still generally showing us that a lot of books feel like that's going to happen. I'm going to go Amon-Ra St. Brown, and I'm going to take the over of 6.5 receptions on the day right now. Jared Goff. We could also pair this up with Amon-Ra St. Brown. Right now, passing attempts over set at 35.5 on Underdog. FanDuel has him at 35.5, so one full passing attempt higher. And on top of that, it still has odds at negative 114, minus 114. So when you take a look at all these right here, okay, going the over on the passing attempts and having another book, a full passing attempt over, Jared Goff looks to be another solid over on the passing attempts. So we're going to go over 34.5 passing attempts. Breece Hall, his line right now, rushing attempts against the Las Vegas Raiders set at 15.5 rushing attempts. FanDuel has him at 16.5, still odds at minus 122. And then all these other odds here still minus for going over 15.5. So our first ticket, really, quite honestly, we're nailing these three. We're going Breece Hall over on the rushing attempts as well. So our first ticket, I'll show you here in just a second. And keep in mind, we're just throwing together the pick'ems as we talk about it. Oh, we can't do... We can't do Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jared Goff together. Hold on. Let's find one more. Now, this is showing the under on Christian McCaffrey. I don't think I would ever bet the under on Christian McCaffrey, to be honest, on the rushing touchdown. Jordan Hicks, tackles right now, over 8.5. Tackles plus assists. It looks like all these books right now, right here, have the same line, giving odds. I'm going to go ahead and go Jordan Hicks as well. Let's go ahead and take out... Let's take out Amon-Ra St. Brown. Let's go back. Let's find Jordan Hicks. Well, hold on. Let's double check something real quick. Keenan Allen. Ooh, interesting one here with Keenan Allen. Right now, receptions set at 7 on Underdog. Minus 118. All of these others are set at 6.5. 2 have them at plus 100, 106. The other ones are at minus 105, 106, 105, 106, 101, 110. So when I take a look at all of these going under 7 receptions, obviously to hit 7, these two sports books are saying to go under 6.5 would be plus 100. To go under 7.5, or to go under 6.5 would be, I'm going to go under on the Keenan Allen here. I'm going to go under on the Keenan Allen. So let's go ahead and do this. Let's go Keenan Allen, lower than 7 receptions. We're going to put this in for 10 insured. And I will show you this in just a second, but let me explain real quick. So essentially what this line here is telling us, there are 2 sports books that are essentially saying if he goes under 6.5, we're going to give you plus odds on that. But there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 sports books, including Underdog, that are essentially saying we're going to give you minus odds for him to come under 6.5. And we're at 7 here. So essentially all of these sports books are saying that the potential for him to go under 7 or 6.5 receptions is better than going over 6.5 receptions because they're paying out less for it. The line on Underdog is giving us a full half of reception higher. So we're going to go ahead and go under. That's just a smart bet right there. So our first ticket of the day that I put together is Jared Goff higher than 34.5 passing attempts. Breece Hall higher than 15.5 rushing attempts, and Keenan Allen lower than 7 receptions. So that is going to be our first ticket that we are going to put in for the day. Hopefully you all got that. And then we're also, since we couldn't put Goff and Amon-Ra St. Brown together, so I forget that sometimes you can't stack. Sometimes you can. It really depends on what you're picking. Sometimes you can stack teammates. Sometimes you can't on Underdog. It really just depends on which pick'ems you're trying to put in. So since we didn't put the Amon-Ra St. Brown pick'em in this one, we are going to start our next slip with that one as well. So let me go ahead and transition back on over here to OddsJam. Let me get my next tickets all situated here. Amon-Ra St. Brown. We are going, what was it again? Was it higher than 6.5 receptions? Yes, over 6.5 receptions. That's what we're going with. I'm not really talking about the promos right now. I don't really talk about the promos because typically the promos are going to be set up unless it's like going over 0.5 total yards or whatever, which we do have a CJ Stroud. We have 2 different CJ Strouds actually, or we have 2 different low ones. We have a CJ Stroud higher than 0.5 total yards right now, which we will throw in. And then we have a Josh Jacobs higher than 0.5 total yards. We're going to use both of those. But the Amon-Ra St. Brown one, more times than not, is going to be set up for not working. So at this point, I don't really talk about those on stream. I'm looking at the best bets for us at this point, and that's not one that is typically going to be a best bet. So I'm staying away from those on stream. Really, you just kind of got to go with your guts on those. We're using the numbers, baby. This stream is all about using the numbers. All right, let's talk about Deshaun Watson. Right now, over passing attempts is set at 29, going up against the Baltimore Ravens. All of these other books are showing 29.5, and to go over 29.5 is giving you worse, or giving you better odds there in terms of those are showing, those minus numbers are showing that the ability to go over 29.5 is going to pay out more. So we're going to go Watson over 29.5 passing attempts. just over 29 passing attempts, which is actually going to give us our next ticket already. This is going to give us our next ticket already. So let me go ahead and show you our next ticket, because we took the CJ Stroud special there. Deshaun Watson higher than 29 passing attempts. CJ Stroud higher than 0.5 total yards. And Amon-Ra St. Brown higher than 6.5 receptions. So that is the CJ Stroud promo there. I also have a Josh Jacobs promo that we can use as well. That's 0.5 total yards as well for him. So we'll use that next too. But that's our next ticket right there. Let's get right back to it. We have so much to do today. So much to do. So much moolah to bring in, baby. All right, let me go ahead and grab the Josh Jacobs here real quick. All right, I got that one in there. Let's go ahead and keep searching for good bets here. Dak Prescott, passing completions. Right now his line is set under 22.5. 21.5 on FanDuel, so one completion lower. The odds for him to go under 22.5 are at minus. And then on FanDuel, they're also giving you minus 106 to go under even 21.5. We're going to go Dak Prescott. And we're going to go lower. We're going to go lower than 22.5 completions. Matt Goodhart becoming a member for the 12th month. I sub for the fantasy content, and it's awesome. This Pick'em show has been icing on the cake. Don't quit doing what you all do. Appreciate you, Matt, for sticking with us and being a part of the exclusive Headliner Nation. Glad to have you around for a year now as a member on the channel. Anna, thank you for reminding the people out there that this is a Pick'em stream. I'm not doing any start and sit questions in this stream. If you have start and sit questions, you're more than welcome to ask your fellow headliners, and your headliners can help you out. But we won't be doing any type of trade questions or any type of start and sit questions till we go live at 11:50 for the members only live stream. Jamal Williams right now going up against Minnesota, rushing yards, his line is set at 20.5 on Underdog. He's got a line of 18.5 with minus odds on FanDuel, and a line on Barstool for 19.5 of minus odds. So right now, Jamal Williams under 20.5 rushing yards is also looking like a good bet for us today. We're going lower than 20.5 rushing yards. And there's also, so he has three different pick'ems that you could choose from. If you don't like lower than 20.5 rushing yards, his receiving prop or his receiving pick'em right now is set at 5.5. So if you add those together, that's 26 total yards that the pick'ems are showing. However, his pick'em for rushing plus receiving is showing at 29.5. So you're getting a few extra yards there. So you could also go lower on the 29.5 rushing yards, rushing plus receiving yards, if you're feeling a little iffy about those rushing yards at all. Let's go ahead and lock this one in as well real quick. All right, so our next ticket, let's go ahead and show the nation what our next ticket looks like. We had a special for Josh Jacobs, so we're going to take higher than 0.5 total yards. We're also going to go lower than 20.5 rushing yards for Jamal Williams, and we're going to go lower than 22.5 completions for Dak Prescott. A little coffee. We have a couple of different drinks this morning. We have a Dunkin' iced coffee, caramel cream and sugar. Probably a little bit too much sugar for the morning. It is what it is. I needed to pick me up. And then we have our protein water. My straw is stuck. There we go. All right. Boom. Let's get back to it. No time to waste this morning. Got a lot of stuff going on. So we just did Jamal Williams, Kareem Hunt rushing yards. I don't know if I can do this one because the Cleveland Browns are now going to be missing 3 Ponce Farm. I know. I about died last week. It's okay. I'm going to try my best not to choke on my protein water this week. So here's the issue. Here's the issue with Kareem Hunt, and this is where things get a little bit tough for me. I need an assistant. I would love one, but that's not a thing. Jake and I could share an assistant, but that's not happening right now. So the Cleveland Browns are missing like 3 offensive linemen, and they're going up against one of the best defenses in all the NFL this week. Right now, Kareem Hunt's rushing yards, his line is set at 23.5 on Underdog with an over 23.5. Now, 23.5 is set on several other sports books as well. On Barstool, it's 24.5, still giving you minus odds. On bets, it's 28.5 and still giving you minus odds. So the numbers here for Kareem Hunt absolutely show that we should be taking the over on 23.5 yards. But I absolutely hate it. But the problem with that is we're not supposed to be using our gut on this stream. We're using numbers, we're using statistics, we're using evidence-based material to make our bets, because that's what you should be doing. If you are betting, if you are placing bets, you should be going through and not just making your bets based on your gut, because that's not going to work out a majority of the time. We'll go higher here. I don't love it, but the numbers are showing us that we should. So we're going to go ahead and put it in. If you don't love it, like I said, don't play it. If you don't love it, don't play it. And I'm saying at this point, I don't really love it. So just keep that in mind. Sam Howell, his under on the passing attempts of 37.5. So other sports books have him set at 36.5. You're getting minus odds to go under on 3 different books, essentially saying, okay, the under is probably going to happen. The other 2 are giving you plus odds to go under 36.5, though. Going up against Seattle, that's passing attempts. This one's also kind of tough because a couple of sports books are telling us the sports books are telling us, 3 of them are telling us we're going to give you minus odds. Okay, so FanDuel's giving you minus odds for under 37.5, minus odds for under 37.5, minus odds for under 36.5, under 36.5, under 36.5, plus odds for under 36.5. We have to probably go Sam Howell under here. Sam Howell under. Lower than 37.5 passing attempts. Najee Harris rushing attempts over 13. We have 2 sports books saying over 13.5 is giving you minus odds. Over 12.5 is over odds. We're going to go Najee Harris, and we're going to take the over. We're going to go over 13 rushing attempts. Why is it trying to give us Dak Prescott? Dak Prescott's completions just dropped, by the way. It's at 22 now. I'm not accepting it because I didn't put it in this ticket. Get out of here with that garbage. All right, let's take a look at our next ticket here. Sam Howell lower than 37.5 passing attempts. Kareem Hunt higher than 23.5 rushing attempts. Or rushing yards, excuse me. Najee Harris higher than 13 rushing attempts. And honestly, I might take that Najee Harris because I'm not in love with Howell and Hunt. Not in love with either of those two. I like the Najee Harris one, though. I'm thinking I might take that Najee one and put it on the next ticket as well. And play that on another ticket with some pick'ems I'm feeling a little bit better about. So let's go ahead and do that. Also, by the way, Dak Prescott. And this is why we do this, ladies. And I always love seeing this on stream. So Dak Prescott, we took lower than 22.5 completions. And his completions just dropped on Underdog to 22. So we gained an extra half of a completion there. That's playing the numbers, baby. That's playing the numbers. We feel real good about that. So I'm going to go ahead and do Najee higher than 13 rushing attempts again because I do like that one a lot, and I don't love it with the other two that it's paired with. Gus Edwards, under 12 rushing attempts. Under 10.5 rushing attempts is minus odd. Under 12.5 is minus odds. Under 12.5, under 12.5, under 12.5. And then under 10.5 also minus odds. So Gus Edwards under 12 rushing attempts is the bet there. Dude, can we not? And then right below it, we have some big discrepancies coming up here in the sports book or here in the fantasy optimizer. We might not even make it. We may not even make it over to the sports book today because a lot of the things that we're finding in the optimizer are helping us. So Kyler Murray under 225.5 passing yards. Wow, big discrepancy here. The under of 220. We're getting a line of 225 on Underdog. There's a line of 218, 220, 215, 218.5, and all of these are giving you minus odds. That's one of our big ones right there. We're taking Murray and we're going under 225.5 passing yards. That is a huge, huge discrepancy there. So there's our next ticket. Gus Edwards lower than 12 rushing attempts. Najee Harris higher than 13 rushing attempts. Kyler Murray lower than 225.5 passing yards. We got a few more to talk about here. Let's keep rolling. Let's keep rolling right along because we're finding some pretty decent ones to look at here just in the fantasy optimizer. We'll try to get over to the sports book here in just a minute to try and hit a few of those real quick, but we're finding like some good stuff to work with here, so it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to leave right this minute. Will Levis over passing attempts of 30, over 30.5, over 30.5, over 29.5. All of these are giving you better odds. We're going to go Levis over. Over 30 passing attempts. Tyler Lockett, under 5 receptions. FanDuel's giving you plus odds on under 4.5, under 4.5, under 4.5, under 4.5, under 4.5. Plus odds under 4.5, plus odds under 4.5, minus odds under 4.5, minus odds under 5.5. So in this instance here, essentially all these books right here are telling you for him to hit under 4.5 receptions, not loving it. They're going to give you more to hit under. Now, I would love it if this was set at 4.5 because we would hammer higher on it easy. Unfortunately, we're not kind of getting that half of a reception there. So if he hits 5 exactly, we just push on that ticket. But based on what the numbers are showing us, especially with a 5.5 sitting here of minus odds to go under it and minus odds to go under here, kind of throws things off a little bit. But we're going to actually go over on the Tyler Lockett receptions. We're going to go higher than 5 receptions for Tyler Lockett today. I would love it if this line was like 4 or 4.5 and we would take the over. But unfortunately, that's not the thing that's... Yeah, it's not Levi's, it's Levis. Josh Jacobs, over rushing attempts, 17. Over 18.5 on FanDuel is minus odds. Over 16.5, over 16.5. The dude had 26 rushing attempts. The New York Jets have a really good pass defense. They can't stop the run to save them their lives. We're absolutely going Josh Jacobs over here for show. We getting that for show. All right, our next ticket here. Tyler Lockett, higher than 5 receptions. Josh Jacobs, higher than 17 rushing attempts. Will Levis, higher than 30 passing attempts. Ladies and gentlemen, and I think I see a big ticket. I think I see a big ticket here. Now, you don't have to do this. You don't have to do this at all. So right here, if you see Gus Edwards, line for rushing yards is 47.5, 43.5 minus odds, 46.5 minus odds, 41. So 3 of the bets that I've seen today that I have absolutely loved are going into one ticket right now. We're going to put in a big boy ticket. This is me. This is not you. You do not have to follow this. These are 3 of the best bets that I have seen so far today. Josh Jacobs, higher than 17 rushing attempts. Gus Edwards, lower than 47.5 rushing yards. Will Levis, higher than 30 passing attempts. I just put this in as a $100 non-insured ticket to pay out $600. Again, don't put $100 on this if you cannot afford to put $100 on this. Put 10 on it. Put 5 on it. I like this ticket. This might be my favorite ticket of the day, to be honest with you all. This might be my favorite ticket of the day. This is what I'm going with right here. Based on the numbers that we've seen so far, I like this ticket. Anthony, Anna's correct. It might be on where you live. It might be dependent on where you live, to be honest with you. Like for me here in Indiana, I can do these pick'ems, but I can't do any pick'ems associated with college football. And I also can access Underdog in the app. I cannot access Underdog on a website. Like if I try to use my desktop to get to Underdog, I can't. I can only access it from my phone, which really doesn't seem right. That seems really weird. Like if you were trying to limit access to a betting website, I would assume that you would rather have people have access to it on their desktop instead of their phone, which isn't as readily available. So I think that's very weird. But it is what it is. How about some protein water? No, I don't. We asked Underdog about it too, and they said that's just Indiana's restrictions. So I said, okay. Because that was part of it when we were in negotiations with Underdog at the beginning of the year. We were like, okay, this is what we can do. And doing like a live stream based around pick'ems was definitely something that we were talking about. And I can share it on like my desktop. But then I tried to get on the desktop. I was like, I can't get on the desktop. And they were like, really? And they were like, yep, in Indiana, you can't get on the desktop. You can only use your phone. I was like, really? Okay. Jerome Ford under rushing yards is also a solid today. Jerome Ford under rushing yards. You see it right here. Almost all these sports books are giving you minus odds. For him to go under 42.5 rushing yards. Oh, it's changed. It's all the way down to 40.5 now. I would still take it. It's all the way down to 40.5. I would still go lower with Jerome Ford lower. Joe Mixon touchdowns. Oh, they just put in the over on the touchdown. Huh. You know what I am going to throw? I'm going to go ahead, throw in Christian McCaffrey higher on the rushing touchdowns there. He's always a good bet to go over. Let's go ahead and scoot on over to our sportsbook screen now. It's 11:19. Let's try to find a few more here real quick. Oh, wow. I know Jake likes completion percentage, but it doesn't give us any other... It doesn't give us any other books there, so we can't really go through and dabble in that. All right, let's see what we can find here. Kenny Pickett right now on Underdog at 203.5. His average is 205.5, 206, 206, 206, 206. All right, Kenny Pickett over passing yards. Kenny Pickett, we're going over 206.5 passing yards. Whoa, wait a second. It's at 206.5 now on Underdog. Are you... I literally just brought the screen up. Did it just change? His passing yards are at 206. Why are they showing it 203.5 here? Player passing yards. 203.5. I'm seeing that correct, right? He's at 206. James, absolutely. I will go over all of them at the end. He's at 206 on Underdog. That's weird. Let's keep looking. Hopefully the sportsbook screen isn't off. Unfortunately, a couple of weeks ago it was, and that was our worst week. So if this seems to be off again, I am staying away from it. Let's see real quick. $207.5, $206.4. It's not the largest discrepancy in the world that we would like. Okay, his is correct. His is correct on Underdog. 245, 242, 241, 6, 242, 255. Oh, we got a potential big discrepancy here with Joe Burrow. 276.5 going up against Houston. Average odds right now are 274, 276.4 or 274.6. So there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sports books showing Joe Burrow going under. Let's see if his numbers match on Underdog, though. 276.5, 276.5. We're going to go lower than 276.5 passing yards for Joe Burrow. Lower than 276.5 passing yards. Star-Lord. I'll get a little drink here of the water. We've got the protein water right next to us. I'm getting a big drink for you right now. Appreciate it. Thank you for the reminder. Deshaun Watson against Baltimore. Average odds right now are showing at 191 yards. $186.5. What was our ticket with Deshaun Watson a minute ago? Hold on a second. Where's my Watson ticket? There it is. We did Watson higher than 29.5 passing attempts. So since we already think he's going to pass the ball so much, and because we're looking at this right now and saying, okay, Underdog is giving us 186.5 passing yards is the line, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, all of them. Every single sports book except Sleeper has Deshaun Watson over his current yard total. We're going to go. Are you kidding me? It's the same thing, man. He's listed at 186.5 here, but he's listed at 191.5. So we're actually going to stay away from that now. If it was at 186, we would hammer it, but we can't because it's not showing up correctly in the sports book for some reason. I'll send OddsJam a message and let them know, just in case maybe something on the back end is not looking good right now. Lamar Jackson under 205, or the line right now on Underdog is 205.5. Average odds are at 204.6. Not as nearly as much as we would like. Jared Goff, average odds, not quite a yard lower than what we see there. $264, $263, $225, $222. Kyler Murray, we already did Kyler Murray, and you see why here. Taylor Heineke, $219.5, $221 everywhere else. Let's take a look at Heineke real quick and see if that one adds up. This one is showing correctly on Underdog. So right now, 219.5 is the line on Underdog. His average line is 221.6, though. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 sports books with a higher total. And then not only that, but you take a look here at OddsJam. OddsJam is showing for him to go under 219.5. It's actually giving you plus odds. So we're going to go higher than 219.5 passing yards for Taylor Heineke. And that's going to give us our next ticket here. So our next ticket is Joe Burrow lower than 276.5 passing yards. Taylor Heineke higher than 219.5 passing yards. And even though the number dropped on Jerome Ford a little bit, we're still going to take lower than 40.5 rushing yards there. 40.5 rushing yards. We're going to try and find a few more here real quick. Maybe let's try to find one more ticket. Let's try to find one more ticket, then we'll probably kill the live stream at that point. We'll revisit all the tickets first. And then we'll go from there. Moua, do we do the secured bet? So right now I'm doing all of these tickets except for one. I did one biggie ticket. All these tickets except for one are $10 tickets that are insured. All of these are $10 tickets insured. Let's try to find one more ticket. Geno Smith, 261, 260.2. Close. No dice. I'm going to stay away from that one. 258, 251, 158.5, 159, 205, 205. Zach Wilson right now, 205 on under. We're going to take the under. That's changing dramatically too. Let's grab Zach Wilson and let's go under on the passing yards. There's a really good chance that's going to change before we have an opportunity to put it in, though, because it's already changing. We're going to go lower than 205.5 passing yards for Zach Wilson. Let's try to find a couple of more so we can get that ticket secured, because that is changing dramatically. 210. Let's go ahead and go to rushing. Let's go to rushing yards first. Player rushing yards, because there'll be a few less of those. 11, 10.9, 65, 51, 19, 9, 53, 33, 14, 8.5, 53, 27. AJ Dillon's just changed. 46, 50, 29, 23, 20. 8, 65, 65, 65, 16. Not a bunch of discrepancies here. Trying to get this Zach Wilson one locked in before it changes, because that's really good for us. Gus Edwards. We've already done Gus Edwards. I don't want to do Gus Edwards again. 242, 23, 24, 49, 48, 56, 56, 37, 37. 11, 12, half. Bijan. Bijan, we're getting a full yard higher, 56 and a half. 57 and a half is the average odds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sports books have them. $56.5 rushing yards. We'll go higher than 56.5 rushing yards for Bijan. Joe Burrow, we took lower on Joe Burrow's passing yards a few minutes ago, and his line just dropped on Underdog. That's another positive hit for us so far today. 52, 53, 23, 43. We need one more bet. Come on, baby. Come on. Give me a good pick. I'm here so we can get this locked in. Love seeing Kenneth Walker's line in the 60s right now. That's good. $64, $69, $69, 2.5, $2.9, $65, $66.5. I'm going to go Breece Hall over rushing yards. We did the rushing attempts already. I'm going to go ahead and go Breece Hall over on the rushing yards. 65.5 rushing yards. Let's lock in 65.5 rushing yards there. $10 insured. Okay. Here's our last ticket then. So here's our last ticket of the day. Zach Wilson lower than 205.5 passing yards. Breece Hall higher than 65.5 rushing yards. Bijan Robinson higher than 56.5 rushing yards as well. Scott hit Stevenson over on 4 tickets. Well, that I would assume that means Stevenson isn't having that bad of a day. I'm assuming. Let's go ahead and we can go through all of our tickets here real quick. Please keep in mind that you don't have to do the same thing on these tickets. You don't have to take all the same thing in. I did a big boy ticket as well on a few that I liked. Some of these lines have already changed as well, so make sure you check before you put them in. We're going to do a quick recap of all the tickets, all of the props that we talked about, all the pick'ems that we talked about, excuse me. And then we are going to go ahead and get out of here for this stream. I'm going to reset, go to the bathroom real quick, and then we'll be right back in a couple of minutes for the members-only live stream. So let's run through these real quick. Zach Wilson lower than 205.5 passing yards. Breece Hall higher than 65.5 rushing yards. Bijan Robinson higher than 56.5 rushing yards. Take screenshots of these if you need to, because I'm going to go through decently quick here. Jerome Ford lower than 40.5 rushing yards. Joe Burrow lower than 206.5 passing yards. That's been dropping. That is already gone. He's already down to like 274, I think. Taylor Heineke higher than 219.5 passing yards. Gus Edwards lower than 47.5 rushing yards. Will Levis higher than 30.5 passing attempts. Josh Jacobs higher than 17 rushing attempts. That's my big boy ticket. Those are the 3 picks that I saw today that I like the most. Will Levis higher than 30 passing attempts. Tyler Lockett higher than 5 receptions. Josh Jacobs higher than 17 rushing attempts. We already talked about 2 of those 3. Edwards lower than 12 rushing attempts. Kyler Murray lower than 225.5 passing yards. Najee Harris higher than 13 rushing attempts. Kareem Hunt higher than 23.5 rushing yards. Sam Howell lower than 37.5 passing attempts. I told you I wasn't in love with those 2, but Najee Harris higher than 13 rushing attempts. Josh Jacobs higher than 0.5 total yards. That's a special. Jamal Williams lower than 20.5 rushing yards. Dak Prescott lower than 22.5 completions. CJ Stroud higher than 0.5 total yards. We took that one, right? Amon-Ra St. Brown higher than 6.5 receptions. Deshaun Watson higher than 29 passing attempts. Jared Goff higher than 34.5 passing attempts. Breece Hall higher than 15.5 rushing attempts. Keenan Allen lower than 7 receptions. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Those are our bets for today. Those are our pick'ems that we're gonna. Those are our pick'ems that we're chasing today, and hopefully they work out for you. Over 60% again on the season. Hopefully we stay over that this week. Good week last week, 13 of 17. I didn't count. I feel like we have more than 17 this week though. So fingers crossed that we have another good week. Reminder to everybody, a couple of things before we get out of here. Number 1, bet within your limits. Don't put down too much. Don't put more than you can afford. Don't chase losses. Betting is all about risk management, okay? And that's what we do here. That's why you see me put in like one big bet, and then all the other ones are small insured ones, so I can just continue to increase that bankroll. You know, if I hit 3 tickets, I make up for that one big one that I put in. I'm just feeling that good about it. I'm feeling saucy, okay? Don't bet more than you can. Don't bet outside your limits, ladies and gentlemen. Don't bet more than you can lose. Number 2, the information that we use today to provide our pick'ems is from OddsJam. If you're interested in trying out their website to do the same thing that I do, but instead of sitting here with me on Sunday mornings, be able to utilize it every single day of the year, go over to OddsJam, use code word liners at checkout. You're going to get 30% off your first month of OddsJam. But not only that, you're essentially going to get 37 days for free because they give you a free trial and they give you a 30-day money-back guarantee when you utilize our code word. So you're going to get 7 days to try it for free, and then you'll pay for the first month 30% off. And then at the end of the first month, if you're like, this isn't really working, or I don't really expect myself to use it that much, you can let them know, and they will issue you a refund for that 30-day money-back guarantee. Also on Underdog, if you're playing along any of these pick'ems and you want to use our code word headliners, they're going to match your deposit up to $100 when you make a $10 deposit. And anybody that signs up with our code word also gets a special pick'em, kind of like what you saw a couple of things used this week as well. So, all right, I'm going to get out of here. I need to go get ready for our members only live stream. I'm going to be live in just a couple of minutes over there to talk start and sit questions, go over the weather, go over injuries, all of that good stuff. I'm going to check the Patriots, Colts box score real quick, and then I will be back on that live stream to answer start and sit questions. For now, ladies and gentlemen, though, I appreciate you all tuning into this episode, looking through pick'ems with us. Meet me back here, right here in like 5 minutes. We'll be live again. All right. Appreciate you all, and I'll see you in just a couple minutes.
When the game on the line, you can't fold and you can't bend. Y'all be playing it safe and I be going.